Hey Yellowjackets, my name is Sadie Chism with the Lebanon School District, and I am here with Lebanon Now in Ozark Fiber Studios with Aaron Stewart. We have our Director of Bands here with us today. So how are you? How's your summer been?
Good. It's been really good. Early in the summer, I got to spend some time with family and do some fun things. Did a little bit of traveling while keeping the band stuff going in the background. And here, just the last 3 weeks, we're back to work and getting ready for the school year and all our performances and everything that comes along with marching season.
Awesome. So what are some things that you guys have been doing in band to prepare for this upcoming season?
So the whole marching process starts really back in September, October, November, pretty quick after we finish the last season. We're starting to think about ideas for the next marching season while we're doing all of the other things that come with band in the spring and concert season. But here recently, we're in our third week of camp. We had a week of drumline and color guard and freshmen, and then last week was everybody in all day. And this week we're all together again, just starting to put the show together, getting the music learned, the movements and the drill, and all the logistics that go into putting the show together behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
That is so much. I can't even imagine the preparation that goes into it. Also, so much creativity. That's very neat.
My team is really fantastic. I have big ideas, and a lot of times they're the ones that can take those ideas and actually make them happen in a way that looks good and makes sense. So I'm really blessed with some creative folks to help put it all together for sure.
That's awesome. So what would you say you guys are most excited for, or maybe you're most excited for?
So our show this year is called A Change of Seasons, and it's obviously about kind of how the weather and just our lives change as we go through the 4 seasons of the year. And it's not, we don't necessarily have like, this is summer, this is winter, this is fall. It's more really about how things change and mold as we move from one season to the next. So we like the theme. The music is very accessible for our kids. It uses excerpts from Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, specifically the spring movement. That's something that maybe people won't know from the title, but if they hear it, they'll probably go, oh, I recognize that melody. It also uses In the Bleak Midwinter, which is a pretty well-known melody and tune that we hear especially a lot around Christmas time. So there's going to be some music that people recognize, and it's also just written in a way that's accessible for our kids. They've learned the music well. They're continuing to just make refinements. So we're just excited about the theme and the way it's coming together. The kids really enjoy it, which is a huge plus. You know, when you pick something and you pick a show and you pick music, you hope the kids like it, but you don't really know until you get into it.
Yeah.
And they really seem to be enjoying it this year, which just makes them have more fun, and it makes the whole thing easier to put together.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they're responding well, because I know they're working so hard at it. So that's pretty awesome that they're just buying into it already. So how many students do you have in band right now?
We're sitting right at about 150-ish, which is a good number for us. You know, at our peak, kind of pre-pandemic, we were up around 180, which was really awesome. But even those extra 30 kids, it's just comes with some things that are, you know, more bodies, more uniforms, more meals to serve, and all that. So we kind of like where we're sitting right now. We've got pretty good instrumentation, good number of students in the drum line and the color guard. So yeah, 150 is about where we're at, and that's going to be a really good number for us out on the field.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I know that you probably have freshmen who are coming in. What's that transition period like? What do you guys do? I know it's probably like drinking out of a fire hydrant almost for those kids.
That's exactly what it's like for them. Yeah, and we try and prep them at the end of their 8th grade year a little bit. You know, we get them standing up, we get their feet moving just a little bit. But we tell them from the beginning that it's the jump from 8th grade band to high school, and especially marching band, is a massive jump. The music is harder. All of a sudden they're having to stand up and march and do all these things, and then we throw a band uniform on them, and it's just, a fire hose is a great way to describe it. I also say to them a lot that basically I'm just saying, here's the deep end, go swim. And they figure it out. And you know, if it's to some of them it comes really naturally. Their bodies just acclimate to how to move and do the things we ask it to very naturally. Some of them it's a little bit more of a struggle, but we've got kids that work so hard to get it figured out, and they do. And it's really surprising sometimes. The kid that you wouldn't necessarily think is going to be a great marcher just looks beautiful out there on the field, and that's a really fun thing to see.
That's such a unique perspective, because even as you watch kids progress throughout school, you do see how they are just changing exactly when they need to. And I think that's really cool that you notice that even in things like band and in sports and all different aspects. So that's really neat. Okay, so we're kind of coming out of summer mode. So what are some of the biggest challenges during this season when you're trying to prepare for the upcoming?
Just making sure that all of the behind the scenes things are done. I've got a staff member, Heidi Benny, who kind of leads up our uniform fitting and process, and she's got some great help from parents and staff members. But that's a huge task to take the uniforms that got cleaned at the end of last season, and then were just kind of hung up, and you've got to match the right jacket and the right pants back together and get all of the pieces ready to go. And then you've got to get these kids, the freshmen especially, who have never put a uniform on before, and teach them how to put them on and get them in the right size. And of course we want the kid to be comfortable. We don't want it to be so tight or so baggy that it's uncomfortable. We want them to look good. And so that is a long, hard process that she and her team have just got down to a science. I stay away from the uniform closet because I'm just in their way. But they're fantastic. And, we're trying to make sure that we've got the shoes that they need ordered and all of that stuff. And then there's the color guard and the flags and the different things that they need. And it's just, there's so much behind the scenes that has to be in place so that then the students can be successful. And then we get the kids out there, and we just have a process that we go through, and we start learning the music, and we have some fundamental marching techniques that they have to just be able to do before we can even start really on the show. So that's a lot of what we did last week. And now it's just, we're going to learn this page of drill, and then we're going to learn the next one, and then we're going to put those two together, and we just start kind of stacking things on top of each other. But yeah, it's a lot of that behind the scenes stuff that people don't really see. That is the kind of the heavy lift right now.
That is super neat. Are there any speeches, or do you do anything to try to get students ready for the role that they play in team spirit and school spirit, community spirit, Yellowjacket?
We do talk a lot, especially when it comes to football games and parades and pep assemblies and those kind of things, that we create the environment, or at least we help to. We're not solely responsible. We play a part, and we talk about how that's important. I talk to the kids a lot about how a large portion of this community really doesn't know what goes into what we do, and that's understandable. It's a lot. So they judge us on how the national anthem sounds and how the fight song sounds, because everybody knows how that's supposed to sound. And do we sound good playing Hey Ya in the stands, and how do we look coming down the street at the Christmas parade? And those things are all important to us, but they're not necessarily our main goals. We want to go to our competitions and do well, and we want to perform well at concerts and competitions in the spring. But a lot of our community's opinion of us is judged on those kind of spirit-based things like you're talking about. So we talk about that a lot. As far as the kids and their morale, we push a lot that, we were just talking today actually about how the standard never goes down. If they execute something at a really high level, that's the new expectation. And they're going to have to do that every time. And then we get to something that maybe they're not executing at a high level. So we offer advice, and we talk about how to do it better. And then once they set that standard, that's the new expectation. One thing that's kind of unique to us, you asked about speeches. I talk to them a lot about just a variety of different things, and it's usually just kind of in the moment and what I think they need to hear. But one thing that has become a big tradition for us is we read a kid's book every year. It's called The Pout Pout Fish. And it started a decade ago when my daughter was little, and that was one of our favorite books to read. And Pout Pout Fish is about a fish that thinks he's kind of glum, but then he finds out he's actually really important. And it's just a great story with a good message. And they were kind of having a rough patch, and I just thought, let's just read this book and see what happens. And it's become a tradition. And it's something that our alumni talk about. And so that's one that we always look forward to, is the annual Pout Pout Fish reading. It kind of boosts us in that middle of September slump when we're not quite competition season yet. They're having more homework and tests and stuff at school, and it's harder to get up in the morning and go to band. So that's one we always look forward to.
That is so cool to hear from you. Our executive leadership team for the district, just yesterday actually, we were asked, what does excellence mean to you? So it is so awesome to see people at every level talking about excellence. What does excellence mean? And man, I even feel like our community is excellent. They are excellent at cheering on the Yellowjackets.
Yes.
You see the fire trucks, the water towers. They all have a Yellowjacket on it. So it's just so neat to see the trust, the commitment from everybody, and that we truly are trying to be excellent in every single area.
When I talk to my band colleagues, I say a lot that I didn't grow up in Lebanon. I grew up in Kansas City, and I grew up in a school district where there was 3 and now 4 high schools in the district. So coming to Lebanon, where a student is a yellow jacket from the time they enter kindergarten until they graduate, that's something that was new to me, but that I think is really cool. That the elementary schools and the high school and the middle school, we're all yellow jackets, and we all have that same spirit. So yeah, I think that's a huge thing for this community, and I'm really excited about it.
That's such a cool perspective that you have, switching. Maybe this feels like a smaller community to you, but that is such a great perspective.
Smaller, yeah, but in no way worse. Very different. I tell people, where I grew up from, you don't drive down the street and see the restaurants with school mascots on them because there's another school just a couple miles away that might get offended for that. We're here. I mean, go Yellowjackets on the signs and everything.
Everywhere.
It's amazing.
It is. Yeah. Well, I love that perspective that you share. So I want to know, for any student who may be interested in entering into band, what would you say to that? How would you encourage them?
The one, I guess, challenge we have with band is that it does really build from year to year to year. So if they don't get started in 6th grade, not that it's impossible, but it is hard for them to join up with us later in a way that isn't necessarily true with other activities. And that's not bad or worse, it's just different. So if I have any incoming 5th grade Yellowjackets out there, we're going to come talking to you at Boswell here this year about joining band. And we would love to have lots of new 6th graders for the 26-27 school year. And if there are any current 6th graders who didn't get enrolled but would like to, we can make that happen. School hasn't started yet. I know the middle school would work with them to make that happen. Obviously, I'm the band director. I think band is a fantastic activity, and I want every kid to be involved, but mostly I just want kids involved in things that they're passionate about. And
Absolutely.
I think what we do is awesome, but this district and this community has so many great things. Coach Christian and I are good friends, and we talk all the time, and I think our football program is amazing. All of our athletics, obviously the other things in the performing arts world, choir, speech and debate, drama. I mean, I just want kids to be involved, and I would love that to be with us, but if they have a passion somewhere else, I think they should go do that and be really awesome at it.
Man, there's so many opportunities and ways students can get involved and start gaining those experiences with your classmates and just your friends. Creates memories forever for sure. Yeah. So what is one thing that our community or people watching may not understand or realize about the behind the scenes of what you do?
You said something a minute ago that kind of made me think something that people may not know or may not understand or feel the same way that we do. And it's not really about the behind the scenes, but something that I say to the kids all the time is that it is not about the number on the trophy. When we go to marching competitions, of course we want to come home with a first place trophy or a making finals or whatever kind of the goal is for that competition. But what we do is different than athletics. I compare it really mostly to golf. A golfer is not necessarily competing against the other golfers directly. They're not trying to affect each other's tee shots and things like that. It's just really the golfer against the course, and the golfer that plays the best against the course wins. Well, when we go to a marching competition, we're not out there trying to, make Branson's trumpet players miss notes so that we score high. We're just out there to give our very best performance, and the judges have a set of criteria that they're looking for, and they evaluate us based on that criteria. And then we see how we stack up with the other bands. So my message to my students is not necessarily let's go win, although that is the goal. But the way we win is by being our very best and doing all of the little things that we've been teaching them and preaching to them, since day one. Since day one of 6th grade, with great sounds and great tone on their instruments. And then, of course, with marching band, all of the things that go into that. So it's really about just executing what they know how to do at the highest level. And then if somebody else's best is better than our best, we congratulate them. We all love our band friends, and then we try to get better for the next week.
Absolutely.
I think that's maybe a little bit of something that I hope people can see differently, is that while it is competition, it's more about us doing our best and not necessarily a direct competition with another band or other bands.
Doing our best, continue to improve.
Exactly.
Yep, that's really good.
Better every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what somebody defined as excellence, doing better than you did the day before. Just always improving. It's those little tiny increments that compound over time. So
we have a quote from Pat Riley, who's a longtime NBA coach and now is the executive for the Miami Heat. And I'm not going to be able to remember it word for word, but it basically says that, excellence is doing a little bit better than you did yesterday and continuing that every single day.
Yeah.
It's right above the door in the band room.
Absolutely. Best place for it to be on their way out.
Exactly.
They go give their best.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's awesome. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
We're just so excited to be back in Jacket Stadium, the first home game on September 5th, cheering on the team to hopefully another great season. We've got 3 competitions upcoming at Valhalla at Parkview High School the first Saturday of October. We're going to go to Ozarko at MSU and play in the big stadium there. And hopefully we made finals at Ozarko for the first time in several years the last time we were there. So hopefully we can improve on that. And then we'll be back to our favorite place in the world, Carthage, for the Maple Leaf Festival the 3rd Saturday of October. And that's just always the best way for us to end our season. So would love for all of our band friends and families and alumni to come cheer us on, and just looking forward to a great season.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm so excited to hear you guys this season, watch you guys. It's going to be great to follow along. But that's all we have for today. Thank you so much, Yellowjackets, for following along, and we will see you next week.